Greetings, true believers. Well, it's time to look at, unfortunately, the final installment of Marvel May 2026, which is Fantastic Four First Steps. On Earth 828 in 1964, the world celebrates the 4th anniversary of astronauts Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm becoming the superhero team known as the Fantastic Four after they gained superhuman abilities from exposure to cosmic rays during a space mission. Since then, the team have become celebrated and fought supervillains, where recent adventures have progressed technology and Sue's diplomacy via the Future Foundation has led to demilitarization and peace for much of the world. Where Reed and Sue revealed that they are expecting a child, the world prepares for the new arrival and questions whether the child will also have superpowers. Months later, the Silver Surfer comes to Earth and declares that it has been marked for destruction by Galactus, the planet-devouring cosmic being. Reed studies the disappearance of other planets and verifies his claim, and the team decides to return to space to stop Galactus from coming to Earth. They track the Silver Surfer's energy searcher and, using faster-than-light or FTL travel, arrive at a new planet just as it is destroyed by Galactus' ship. The team is captured and brought to Galactus, who reveals that he has insatiable hunger that has driven him to consume planets for eons. Galactus senses that Reed and Sue's unborn child has an immense cosmic power and can take on his hunger, freeing himself from it. He offers to spare Earth in exchange for the child and induces Sue to go into labor. The team refuses the offer and escapes from the ship. Using the gravity from a neutron star, which destroys their FTL system, the team delays the chasing Silver Surfer and propels themselves back to Earth. Sue gives birth to a boy, Franklin, on the way. When they return to Earth a month later, Reed reveals the details of their encounter during a press conference. Their decision to save one child over the billions of other people on Earth leads to a public outcry, with many calling for Franklin to be sacrificed to Galactus. Johnny begins to decipher the Silver Surfer's native language, using some interactions with her and some deep space transmissions Reed intercepted from her planet. They also have transmissions from planets that Galactus destroyed. As Galactus draws near and protests against the Fantastic Four escalate, Sue takes Franklin to meet with protesters. She explains that they will not sacrifice their child, but they will also not give up on the rest of humanity, regaining public trust. Using a teleportation system that he's been working on, Reed devises a plan to build large teleportation bridges across the Earth so they can transport the entire planet to another solar system where Galactus cannot reach them. Through the Future Foundation, Sue organizes the world's nations to build the bridges and conserve the energy needed to use them. As the bridges are being activated, the Silver Surfer returns and begins destroying them. Johnny stops her from destroying the last bridge in Times Square and reveals what he learned from the transmissions. Her name was Shala Ball, and she became Galactus' herald to spare her world in Zed-La. Hearing transmissions from planets she helped destroy, Shala Ball expresses remorse but refuses to help and flees. Using Franklin as bait, the team plans to lure Galactus to the last bridge and teleport him away. Sue negotiates with Harvey Elder to evacuate New York City citizens to Subterranea, his underground city. Galactus makes his way through the city and captures Franklin, avoiding the trap. Sue uses all of her power to push him towards the portal with the force field while Reed rescues Franklin. Johnny attempts to sacrifice himself to give Galactus a final push into the portal, but is stopped by Shala Ball. She pushes Galactus into the portal herself and it closes behind them. Sue dies from her efforts, but is revived by Franklin. The team later goes on a new mission as the world celebrates their 5th anniversary. In a mid-credits scene set 4 years later, Sue is reading to Franklin at home and goes to get a different book. She returns to see him interacting with a man in a green cloak who is holding a metal mask. Dun dun dun! So let's look at the production of this film, beginning with the background. After the critical and commercial failure of 20th Century Fox's 2015 Fantastic Four, co-written and directed by Josh Trank and based on the Marvel Comics superhero team of the Fantastic Four, Fox began looking at new directions to take the franchise. Having also produced 2 early Fantastic Four films, directed by Tim Story a decade prior. The studio did not just want to make another Fantastic Four film. By June 2017, Seth Grahame-Smith was writing a new film that would shift focus to Franklin for Larry Richards. The children of the original Fantastic Four leaders Reed Richards / Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm / Invisible Woman. Taking inspiration from the comic book series Ultimate Fantastic Four, the script included original Fantastic Four members Ben Grimm / The Thing and Johnny Storm / Human Torch, and was described as kid-centric with a tone closer to the animated film The Incredibles than Trank's darker film. The basis of Grahame-Smith's screenplay came from a separate script the Carter Blanchard had written as an adaptation of the children's book Kindergarten Heroes by Mark Millar. Millar previously consulted with Fox on their Marvel-based films. In July 2017, Noah Hawley, the creator of the Marvel television series Legion, was hired to develop a separate film based on Victor Von Doom / Dr. Doom, the Fantastic Four's primary antagonist in the comics and previous films. The Walt Disney Company officially acquired 21st Century Fox in March 2019 and gained the film rights for the Marvel Comics characters the Fox controlled for its subsidiary Marvel Studios, including the Fantastic Four. The Marvel-based films that Fox had been developing were placed on hold. And now onto the development. Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige confirmed in July 2019 that the company was developing a new Fantastic Four film for the shared universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Feige said he was excited about the characters and about bringing Marvel's first family up to the sort of platform and level they deserve, wanting them to take the rightful place within the pantheon of Marvel heroes and bring the importance that they had in the comic books like those that inspire the MCU, such as Jim Starlin's Infinity Gauntlet, Mark Millar's Civil War storylines, which included the Fantastic Four, whose MCU adaptations did not because of the film rights issues at the time. In December 2020, Feige announced that John Watts would direct the film after doing so for the first 3 MCU Spider-Man films. Marvel Studios began meeting with the writers by February 2021. That June, Disney CEO Bob Chapek said Feige and Marvel Studios were planning to mine the Fantastic Four franchise. Watts steps down as director in April 2022, choosing to take a break from the superhero genre after being out of gas from dealing with the COVID-19 protocols on Spider-Man No Way Home and its post-production process. He chose to direct the film Wolves instead. Grant Curtis and Nick Pepin were producing the new Fantastic Four film after working on the Marvel Studios miniseries Moon Knight. John Krasinski portrayed Reed Richards / Mr. Fantastic in the MCU film Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Krasinski had been a popular suggestion for the role among fans for some time, and rumors had been cast as Reed, especially circulated since confirmation of the new film's development. The version of the character that he plays in Multiverse of Madness is from Earth 838, an alternate version to the main MCU, and is a member of the Illuminati. Multiverse of Madness director Sam Raimi said Feige cast Krasinski as the character because it was for an alternate universe cameo appearance that was also an opportunity to deliver on popular fan casting. There was much speculation about whether Krasinski's role was a one-off or if he returned to star in the new Fantastic Four film. Krasinski later said he appreciated the role, but there were no discussions about him reprising it. Marvel Studios was searching for a new director by June 2022, when the studio was not close to shortening their list of candidates. The list reportedly included high-profile filmmakers, and Feige was said to be looking for a director who could oversee the filming process without him needed to be on set, similar to Raimi. At San Diego Comic-Con the next month, Feige announced that the film would be released on November 8, 2024, as the first film of Phase 6 of the MCU. Filming was set to begin in 2023. Matt Shankman was in early talks to direct by late August. He and Michael Matthews were considered the finalists in a search that also included Reed Carolyn. Daniel Hollywood said Shankman was the person to be given his familiarity with Feige after directing the Marvel Studios miniseries WandaVision. Shankman's pitch to Marvel Studios involved telling a family-centric story of the Fantastic Four, with Reed and Sue becoming parents after they were well-known superheroes. Executives were convinced Shackman was the best choice after he showed a picture of him holding his newly born daughter in a meeting while negotiating. Shackman subsequently exited a planned Star Trek film due to the schedule for Fantastic Four, choosing to work on the latter because he didn't want to pass up the opportunity and was excited by its focus on family, optimism, and technology. Feige confirmed that Shackman would direct at Disney's D23 convention in September. Jeff Kaplan and Ian Spring were writing the script with Feige for some time before Shackman's hiring. The four were said to align their visions for the film while Feige and Shackman began casting. In October, the release date was pushed back to February 14th, 2025. And now into the pre-production, specifically, casting started and surged during the 2023 labor strikes. Casting for the Fantastic Four began by February 2023, with a focus on casting the role of Sue Storm / Invisible Woman first. Shackman said the casting process was the biggest challenge because it wanted to find actors who could convey the team's family dynamics. Feige said the group would be a big pillar in the MCU moving forward, and the studio had set a very high bar for ourselves and wanted to live up to the group's long history in the comics going back to 1961. Joss Friedman was hired to rewrite the script at the end of March. Boris Kidd of The Hollywood Reporter believed Friedman's hiring indicated a possible tonal shift because he had written many science fiction projects while Kaplan and Springer were known more for comedy. Journalist Jeff Snyder reported that Friedman was hired to bring the film closer to Feige and Shackman's vision to heavily feature cosmic elements for the 1960s comic books, including the characters Galactus and Silver Surfer. Shackman noted that previous Fantastic Four adaptations combined an origin story for the team and Doctor Doom, a character who takes up a lot of air, as the villain. By avoiding a retelling of the origin story, the film begins 4 years after the team gains their powers, using Galactus as the antagonist. He felt they were bringing a fresh perspective to the film. Feige said the decision to avoid retelling the origin story was similar to how the MCU introduced Peter Parker / Spider-Man without retelling his well-known origin story. Another difference is the introduction of Reed and Sue's son Franklin, who was not included in previous film adaptations. Snyder reported that Victor Von Doom / Doctor Doom could have a small role, such as an appearance in a post-credits scene, and Marvel Studios wanted a major star to play the character. By the start of the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike in May, film was planned to begin in January 2024 in London. Snyder reported that Marvel Studios wanted Adam Driver and Emma Stone to portray Reed and Sue, but they both declined offers in part because the studio did not want to pay the high salaries they asked for. Snyder said Feige wanted to contain the studio's talent spending. In June, the release date was pushed back to May 2nd, 2025. Before the start of the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike in July, Marvel Studios held screen tests for Reed with several actors, including Christopher Abbott and Jamie Dornan, which Snyder said did not go very well. The studio offered the role to Jake Gyllenhaal, who portrayed Quentin Beck / Mysterio in the MCU film Spider-Man Far From Home, but he also asked for a salary that Marvel did not want to pay. They were considering not-white actors for Reed, and Pedro Pascal became interested, though he would not engage in conversations during the strike. In August, Moss-Bachrach was offered the role of Ben Grimm / The Thing, after playing David Lieberman / Micro in the first season of the MCU television series The Punisher. Marvel was committed to casting a Jewish actor like Moss-Bachrach as The Thing, who was depicted as Jewish in the comics, but was not portrayed by Jewish actors in the previous Fantastic Four films. David Cromwell met with Shackman about the role after campaigning for it online, but was unsuccessful. He began campaigning to portray the villain Harvey Elder / Moleman instead. Snyder reported that Marvel Studios was looking at Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn to portray Sue and her brother Johnny Storm / Human Torch. Nicholas Galitzine was also rumored to be portraying Johnny and had conversations about the role. Marvel approached Matt Smith about portraying Reed, but that was not expected to work out, and they were instead looking for a bona fide movie star. Tom Ellis was also asked to audition for the role. A Latino actor was expected to be hired as Galactus. In October 2023, Schuckman said they planned to start filming early 2024 at Pinewood Studios in England, and the cast would be announced once the SAG-AFTRA strike ended. During the strikes, the crew worked on production design and early tests of the visual effects for the team's abilities. Kusra Ferrani returned as the production designer for the Marvel Studios series Loki, and Alexandra Byrne returned as costume designer from several MCU films. The team's costumes are pale blue with white necklines, similar to designs introduced in the comics for the Task Force Volume 1, and those worn in Roger Corman's unreleased Fantastic Four film. The filmmakers chose to embrace Jack Kirby's line design from the comics and worked with the production designer to get more Kirby designs into shots and backgrounds, such as the Galactus' helmet. And now on to post-labor strikes and cast announcement. Following the conclusion of the actors' strike in November 2023, Pascal entered talks to portray Reed and was negotiating his schedule around other commitments. Marvel Studios was expected to make offers for their lead role soon after, having it deemed essential to find the actor for Reed first. According to Schuckman, Reed was the most difficult role to cast. Moss-Bachrach was the first actor officially cast in the film. Quinn sought advice on the film from Pascal during the production of their film Gladiator 2, knowing that Pascal was in talks to play Reed. Pascal had not planned to take on such a role and said the film changed his plans in a very sudden way. Javier Bardem was being hired to portray Galactus after Antonio Banderas was linked to the character, though Bardem had a potential scheduling conflict with the film F1. Snyder reported the studio was looking to cast a woman as Silver Surfer, who was usually the male character Norrin Radd. In January 2024, Snyder reported that filming had been delayed to a start between July and September, causing Pascal to exit his role in the film Weapons. On February 14, 2024, Marvel Studios released a Valentine's Day themed announcement that confirmed the casting of Pascal as Reed, Kirby as Sue, Quinn as Johnny, and Moss-Bachrach as the Thing. The film, officially titled The Fantastic Four, was delayed to July 25, 2025, swapping places with the MCU film Thunderbolts. Feige said 90% of the work was done by confirming the main cast. The announcement's promotional art included the December 13th, 1963 issue of Life magazine with Lyndon B. Johnson on the cover, indicating 1960s setting. Pascal referenced 1960 songs from the Beatles when sharing the promotional art on social media. The announcement also revealed the inclusion of the comic character Herbie, a robot companion to the Fantastic Four. Feige later confirmed that the film would be a 1960s period piece, but indicated that it would be set in an alternate universe for the main MCU within the multiverse, instead of Earth 828. Saying the story in an alternate universe was very freeing, and one of the film's earliest ideas. The decision came about due to Schuckman acknowledging that the source's material's comic books were created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee in the 1960s, back when people dreamed about the stars and the unknown, wanted to put them closer to their point of origin, and because Schuckman did not want a plot hole in regards to where the history team may have been when Thanos attacked and killed most of the heroes in Avengers Infinity War. Schuckman called it a retro future 60s aesthetic, part what you know from the 60s, but part what you've never seen. He looked to the optimism of the space race and ideas of future space travelers that people had in the 1960s when the comics were first written. Schuckman stated, quote, "I really wanted to take all that great stuff from Apollo 11 and just imagine that instead of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, it was the Storms and Ben Grimm and Reed Richards heading off into space," end quote. He said all the Fantastic Four comics, from the original creation up to present day, took particular inspiration from Jonathan Hickman's 2009 to 2011 run for how to approach the main characters. The film includes the Future Foundation philanthropic organization from Hickman's run. Schuckman was also inspired by Stanley Kubrick's film 2001: A Space Odyssey and the works of industrial designer and artist Sid Mead. He said his work on the television series It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia helped inform his approach to the film's playfulness, collaboration, and improvisation. Also in February 2024, Snyder reported that Bardem was the studio's top choice for Galactus. They began meeting with actors for Silver Surfer, and Dr. Doom would be cast during filming. Eric Pearson, who had a reputation for taking projects over the finish line from Marvel Studios, had been quietly hired to polish the script. In April, Julie Gordon was cast as Shala Ball / Silver Surfer. In the comics, Shala Ball was the love interest of Nora and Rad. She becomes the Silver Surfer herself in the 1999 to 2000 Earth X Limited series with Jim Kruger and John Paul Leon. Joseph Cordell in Hollywood reported that no actors held an offer or were in talks for Galactus at the time. One Division writer, Peter Cameron, had contributed to the script by the following month. Several actors joined the cast in May, including Paul Walter Hauser, who was cast as Harvey Elder / Mole Man, reportedly for a sequence at the beginning of the film. Hauser worked with Shackman on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and met with him to discuss joining the Fantastic Four. He was initially reluctant due to the poor reception of the previous Fantastic Four films, but was won over by script, cast, and crew. John Malkovich was cast as Ivan Kragoff / Red Ghost after declining offers for previous Marvel films because he felt the proposed pay was unequal to the work involved. He chose to accept the role of Shackman again after the film cut bank. Ralph Ineson was cast as Galactus after appearing as Ravager pilot in the MCU film Guardians of the Galaxy. Snyder posited that Marvel chose Ineson for his voice acting proficiency, not wanting another A-list actor after failing to pull Bardem due to scheduling difficulties. Natasha Lyonne also joined the cast after voicing the original MCU character Birdie the Duck in the third season of the Marvel Studios animated series What If. 3 weeks of rehearsals were held with the actors to work through the script with Shackman and Friedman to help define their relationships to one another and how they would exist in their 1960s retro-futuristic setting. Discussing these rehearsals, Pascal explained that it allowed the actors to approach the script dramaturgically as you would a play. Moss-Bachrach, who believed the script is not completed yet, to allow them to share research and consult with astronauts and scientists. In the end of June 2024, Feige said filming would begin at the end of July. A few days of pre-filming occurred before SDCC in late July, capturing footage of an astronaut preparation area. The thing is a contestant on a dating game show titled Let's Make a Match, and a children's science show held by Reed titled Fantastic Science with Mr. Fantastic. At the convention, the film's new title was announced to be The Fantastic Four First Steps. The subtitle referred to the film's ideas of optimism and space exploration, but Shackman said it also had additional meanings. There's led to speculation about what those meanings could be. Also at SDCC, the main cast were revealed to reprising the roles in the MCU crossover films Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and Robert Downey Jr. was announced to be playing Dr. Doom in those 2 films. Feige wanted Downey to return to the MCU after he portrayed Tony Stark / Iron Man in the franchise from 2008 to 2019, and had discussed the actor taking on the role of Doom around a year before the SDCC announcement. Snyder reported that Doom will be introduced in a post-credits scene at the end of First Steps ahead of Downey's appearances in the Avengers films. Shackman said he knew about Downey's casting for a while before the announcement, but he later said Dr. Doom was not a part of his film, and therefore not a part of his purview. Feige later added that the events of First Steps will lead directly into the story of Doomsday. And now on to filming. Principal photography began on July 30th, 2024 at Pinewood Studios in Buckinghamshire, England, under the working title Blue Moon. The film was shot for IMAX, with Jess Hall returning from WandaVision as cinematographer. Filming was originally reported to be starting in 2023 and then early 2024 before the strikes. Shackman wanted the film to look as if it were made by Kubrick in 1965, including with its camera lens choices and general approach to filmmaking. Second-year director of photography Tim Wooster used his father's 16mm film camera for some sequences. Practical sets and props were employed where possible. The team's back-to-building penthouse was a 2-story contiguous set inspired by cozy mid-century modern California homes. Reed's lab, inspired by 2001: A Space Odyssey, is divided into three sections: a red room for research and inventions, a yellow room with chalkboards for thinking, and a blue room with communications equipment for monitoring. A fictionalized version of New York's Yancey Street was built based on how the city's Jewish areas looked during the childhood of Fantastic Four co-creator Jack Kirby, including kosher grocery stores and a synagogue. Pine was a backlobs used for the film's Times Square set. Practical props included a 14-foot, 4.3-meter scale model of the Fantastic Four spaceship, the Excelsior, to create a miniature effect. Herbie realized through a combination of a wooden puppet, a remote-controlled animatronic, and a functioning head and arms and visual effects, and two models of the team's Fantastic Car, one that allowed for interior filming with the actors, and another that was stripped down for use in effect shots. Variety said the Fantastic Car was based on mid-60s American concept cars that were actually referencing European cars. Its accent features, such as turbine intakes and interface controls, have a 1950s retro future look. Location shooting occurred at Turtle Door in Dorset, England in mid-October. The unfinished filming are scenes later that month. In mid-November, Stenhouse was revealed to have been cast. Filming took place from November 19th to 22nd at the Palace of Congress in Oviedo, Spain, for the scenes set at the headquarters of the United Nations. Filming also took place in the Middleton Mine in Derbyshire Dales, England, and wrapped at the end of November. And finally, on to post-production. Nona Godai and Tim Roche edited the film. In April 2025, Mark Yates was revealed to be appearing as Ted Gilbert, the talk show host of The Ted Gilbert Show. A month later, sound designer Matthew Wood was revealed to be the voice of Herbie. Additional photography occurred by then, including the active sequence where Shallowell's backstory is shown. Shugman said the character's role had evolved throughout the writing process, and he came to feel during post-production that her backstory, in which she chooses to give herself to Galactus to save her planet and family, was reflective of the film's themes of the Fantastic Four's choices. Shugman stated that the backstory should be seen by the audience. The film's final screenwriting credits were determined through arbitration with the Writers Guild of America, with the screenplay attributed to Friedman, Pearson, Kaplan, and Springer, was directed by Pearson, Kaplan, Springer, and Cat Wood. Pearson's work on the film, including moving the birth of Raiden's son, Franklin Richards, from the beginning of the film to during the team's space escape from Galactus in the middle of the film, along with moving the final fight against Galactus from space to highlight Galactus' scale. He also worked on Johnny researching and unlocking Shallowell's language, with drafts having more flirtatious moments between the two than what was in the final film. In July 2025, Shugman revealed that Malkovich's role as Red Ghost had been cut for the film and said this was a heartbreaking decision to make. Shugman explained that Red Ghost was originally planned to be introduced in a sequence at the beginning of the film that chronicles the Fantastic Four early years as superheroes. This would include a battle against Red Ghost and his super apes. After this, Red Ghost would return to the climax for a scene that initially depicted him destroying Reed's teleportation bridges. Although Red Ghost was replaced by Shallowell in that scene, for the final cut of the film, Shugman felt just made more sense to have Shallowell come back. It stayed more in story with the antagonist we knew, and we were spending the most time with. Shugman praised Malkovich's performance in the role, but said his scenes were some of many that were cut to help balance the introduction of the Fantastic Four as a group and individually their world, and the other various villains in the film. Although Malkovich was cut, the film retains a brief cameo appearance by a cartoon version of Red Ghost in the post-credits scene as part of an in-universe animated series titled The Fantastic Four Power Hour, which also features the villains Diablo, Dragon Man, Mad Thinker, Puppet Master, and Wizard. Additional characters appearing in the film include the Super Apes orangutan member Piotr and the ginormous subterranean creature Giganto. Leading up to the film's release, several actors were revealed, including infant actor Ada Scott as Franklin Richards, Hauser's Mole Man. Niles is Lynn Nichols, and Leon is Rachel Rosman. The stars of the unreleased 1994 film The Fantastic Four, Alex Hayden, Rebecca Stapp, Jan Wood, and Michael Bailey Smith were also revealed to be appearing, making cameo appearances throughout the film. The film's mid-credit scene introduces Downey as Dr. Doom and was filmed by Doomsday directors Anthony and Joe Russo during the production of that film. Shackman said the Russos visited the sets for first steps during its production and watched scenes from the film, as they wanted to familiarize themselves with the Fantastic Four and the other characters so they could treat them well, do right by them in Doomsday. The film ends with a quote from Jack Kirby and the reveal that the universe designation of 828 was based on his birthday, August 28, 1917. The film is dedicated to producer Jamie Christopher, who died during pre-production, and Shackman's mother, Inez. Scott Stokdiuk was the visual effects supervisor. The visual effects provided by Industrial Light and Magic, Framestore, Sony Pictures Imageworks, Digital Domain, Rise FX, and Weta FX. There were 2015 visual effects shots in the final cut of the film, of which Framestore worked on 417 and Digital Domain on 400. ILM worked on the scenes featuring Galactus. Framestore worked on the scenes such as destruction of planet LHS 275 by Galactus' world ship and the Silver Surfer chase sequence, the latter featuring a neutron star that was based on the films 2001 Space Odyssey and Interstellar. Imageworks worked on the scenes featuring the Silver Surfer. Digital Domain worked on scenes featuring Kirby and Franklin, and the others collaborated on the remaining scenes in the film. Much of the New York shots had buildings built after the 1960s replaced with retro-futuristic buildings. The practical Galactus to the Innocent War was scanned with ILM increasing the resolution of the model for close-up shots. Additionally, ILM, Framestore, and Digital Domain worked on different scenes featuring the Thing, with Digital Domain also creating 9 different life-size Thing costumes. Nice. So overall, I really do enjoy this film, and it's definitely my favorite Fantastic Four film, period. So, yeah. So overall, I give Fantastic Four First Steps 5 arc reactors out of 5. Well, thank you all so much for watching Marvel May 2026. Again, I know it was short, but I'm sorry about that. So anyway, so tune in next year as we take a look at Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. And tune in next month for Buffy vs. June 2026 as we are be taking a look at Season 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So be on the lookout for that. So until then, in the words of the So until next year, in the words of the late great Stan Lee, Excelsior!